Hello and welcome to the Ratio Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Ray, and as always, we are coming to you from beautiful downtown Athens, Georgia. Tonight on the show, we have one of my absolute heroes, Jane Wiedlin. And we're going to talk about the Go-Go's, Sacrilicious Sunday, all kinds of cool things with Jane. But Jane is also my co-host tonight on the Ratio Podcast. And Jane has brought two artists that she wants you all to know about, Candi Carpenter and Gwen Levey. So it's just an awesome episode tonight. We're going to get to meet these two artists as well as talk to Jane. And I can't wait to get to it. So without further ado, let's go. Well, all right. We got a huge day of celebration here at the Ratio Podcast as we are honored to have the amazing Jane Wiedlin, not only as a guest, but also as a co-host today. So it's like a dream come true. But in addition to Jane, we are also welcoming very special guests, Candi Carpenter and Gwen Levey. How are y'all doing today?
Good. I'm super stoked because I'm like a total fangirl of Gwen and Candi, and it's like we've been talking to each other online, but just seeing their faces on Zoom and everything is very exciting for me.
Right on, and it's exciting for us. So welcome, Candi and Gwen. And Jane, would you do the honors of introducing everyone to these amazing artists?
Absolutely. Well, in case anyone doesn't know who I am, I'm Jane Wiedlin. I'm in the band The Go-Go's. I've been doing it for I think 1,000 years. It's been a really fucking long time. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so if people don't know The Go-Go's, we're a female group. We were popular in the 80s. And for some reason, we just never seem to go away. Over the last 10 years, all this stuff has happened. We had a Broadway musical. We had a documentary at Sundance. We got put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, it's kind of one of those things where just when you think it's over, it starts again. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And I will, I'll just introduce Gwen and Candi. So Gwen, I don't know how she popped up on my feed on Instagram, but, Instagram may suck, but it's also great because I found some amazing people there. And Gwen in particular has this song that I just can't get enough of, and I love all her material, but this song is so important right now, called Barefoot and Pregnant, and we'll get into that later. But Gwen is a total outlier in country music. Well, you're kind of more Americana, right, Gwen? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. She's got that country twang, but yeah, it's Americana, which thank goodness Americana exists because it kind of introduces people like me to stuff more a little bit on the country side, but still much more progressive. And then Candi Carpenter, I don't know how I found you. You just popped up in my feed and I was like, who is this person? I need this person in my life. Because Candi was talking about all this stuff that I'm so obsessed with, which is just how damaging religion can be, and just, the patriarchal aspect of it. And the, I think, Johnny, you said before we started, like, you're not like, oh, you're going to hate people that are religious, but and I feel the same way, but I do hate religion. I'm just going to say that I think it's just accomplished nothing in this world except keeping the people down. So I think Candi addresses that all the time, in addition to my other favorite thing, which is mental health, because I think both of us struggle a lot with mental health. I have bipolar, and pretty much my whole life, from the age of 11, I really had struggled with it, and really only came to grips with it in 2017 after my stupid latest suicide attempt ended me up in a mental hospital. So at that point, I just had to get better. So it's been a journey for me, but very interested in talking about it and helping other people about it. So I hope I kind of got you guys both introduced properly. And Johnny, I'll let you take over.
Well, I thank you for, and I want to jump right into that because, what you said, I kind of want to get this out of the way. I believe that religion is the root of all problems in the world. Completely. I agree 100% with Jane. And I find artists that attack this in their work the most freeing and the most, it's like meeting someone in the dark when you hear a song from an artist that sees the world how you see it. And I want to get into to y'all's music, but I want to say with Jane, that hook for me is the beginning of Our Lips Are Sealed. Um, the hook where it comes to they have no shield, no secrets to reveal to me, and I don't mean this in any kind of hyperbole. It is one of the most empowering, amazing rock, hooks in rock, and it's given me a lot of strength. Just that one little bit, you know. So, what memories do you have from writing that song?
Well, to be honest, it started from a personal thing. The Go-Go's had just been to England and doing 2 tours with 2 ska bands, which is interesting because obviously we were a punk band at that time. And one of the bands was the Specials and the other was Madness. And Terry Hall, the singer of the Specials, and I kind of had a like brief romance. And so he was sending me lyrics in the mail, and he sent me the lyrics of Our Lips Are Sealed, and I just fell in love with the idea of it, and added some lyrics and wrote the music, and then, you know, the rest is history. But what's happened to it, and I think, John, you can attest to it, is that it became way more than just a personal song about 2 people being attacked by the outside world. It became much bigger than that, and I love that it's become a little bit of an anthem for standing up for yourself against haters.
Well, Gwen, let's go to you. You know, how do you, with all that's going on in this frightening, disheartening, disorienting time, how do you view going into songwriting? What do you want to give of yourself to that, or is there some parts that you want to keep, you know, private? You know, it's a crazy time right now. How do you go about songwriting?
Well, I want to first say that Our Lips Are Sealed is actually my favorite Go-Go song too. So shout out there. Love that song.
Thank you.
Yes, and can't believe I'm on a podcast with you, Jane, and this is so awesome. Well, I think like Candy and Jane, I'm very candid. I put myself out there. I talk about a lot of different issues. I think with Barefoot and Pregnant, obviously my work really focuses around women's freedom and reproductive rights, but I also talk a lot about how my past and my own mental health issues that I've struggled with too. Um, and I've noticed too, I think it's hard sometimes navigating social media because on one hand, it's wonderful. It brought me to Jane, it brought me to Candy. But you know, people can be so negative online. And one of the biggest things, you know, I always get, you know, just hateful comments. Candy, I'm sure you've been there too.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. But you know, just trying to keep your head above water in this wild time. And for me, it's definitely been activism. I mean, it's like, how can I give back to the world? Something that also gives back to myself because it gives me purpose, and that's what I want to bring to my music. And that's really what's been getting me through these really hard times. It's just sharing the news with people, whether it's, you know, through the organization I co-founded, Rise Above Justice Movement, or it's through my music. I just want people to know they're not alone, and that way it makes me feel not alone. So that's how I've been dealing with everything going on right now.
That's amazing.
I just want to point out that Gwen started writing when she was 5 years old, and Candy, you started really young too, right?
I did.
I love that about them, that they were pretty much born to make music. I was just a fan until the punk rock scene, and then I realized that anybody could be in a band, which is how I started doing music. But I was always a huge music fan. But I really love that these two, like practically from being toddlers, were already writing. I just think that's amazing.
It is. Hello, Candy. Yeah, like the same question to you. How are you when you put like your beliefs and what's going on now? Is art, is that the place right now that's getting you through like the rest of us?
Hi, Johnny. Well, like Gwen said, I'm just so excited to be here and to get to chat with Jane. And my neighbor, honestly, Gwen and I are probably just like a couple of blocks away from each
That's
other right
amazing.
now in Nashville, which is pretty funny. But talking about writing as a kid, I started my songwriting journey writing for the other side because I was in my parents' family gospel band. And this is so funny, but when I joined the band, they changed the name of it to the Carpenters with
What?
with an apostrophe S
Oh, come
because
Oh my
on.
God.
quote, because Jesus was a carpenter and we belong to the carpenter, and they're like, well, that's different enough. Um,
See, Jane, what you
so I,
missed out not growing up in the South with us.
oh, this was
Oh my God.
Michigan.
Yeah. Oh
Oh, this
God.
was, I know. Yeah, it's everywhere, Johnny. It's everywhere. But we were terrible, honestly, as a band. And I was the percussionist, and I was like 9 years old with no rhythm. So that's kind of where we were. Um, but it's like, to me, the beauty of healing and music, like writing my album, really helped me deconstruct actively. And um, it's the reason I keep going, Gwen. Like you said, for me, activism looks like speaking out against institutions that are harming and controlling people. Um, I understand the evangelical world, having grown up in it, and um, I want to see it dismantled. I, you know, I can't speak to the individual faith of folks out there who are earnestly believing in something, hoping to better their life and the lives of the people around them. That's not who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to the organizations that are embodying the type of hypothetical evil that they purport to stand against.
Yeah.
And I will use the rest of my time on this earth to preach the opposite of the gospel, I suppose, in
Absolutely.
that way.
Yeah. Yep. Right on, sister.
I think Jane's been so important with that. We were talking a little bit about Instagram earlier, and you do your Sacrilicious Sundays, which I am proud to be a loyal attendee and try and spread the word all I can. And for those that don't know, it's a wonderful Sunday meeting place for atheists, agnostics, and anyone with a sense of humor. I mean, come on, people. Um, and what prompted you to do this? Because I literally wake up every Sunday morning and I got to check in with Jane.
Oh, I love that. I think it just started with a few memes because I was brought up Catholic and I was in the church band too. And I don't think it was quite as gnarly as evangelical, but I mean, let's face it, the Catholic religion, it is so weird. If you think about it at all, it completely falls apart, right? And um, when I was 15, I started thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute, this is a bunch of bullshit. And so ever since then, I think I was agnostic for a long time because I always felt like that it was like hubris to say that you knew there was no God. But I mean, the proof, it's a avalanche of proof and zero proof that there is. So now I'm pretty hardcore about it, of course. And so I did start doing a meme here and there. And the more I did the memes, the more I felt strongly about it. And then I started doing like a meme on Sunday. And then I'm like, what if I do 7 memes every week for the 7 days of a week? And, what if I call it Sacrilicious Sunday? It's actually the portmanteau Sacrilicious is from The Simpsons. Homer Simpson said it in an episode, and I always thought it was so brilliant. But yeah, I started doing it, and I was actually surprised that a lot of people were gravitating towards it. So I kind of feel it's a kind of sort of my mission right now is to, at least get people to think. And I always like to say I do have 2 friends who are very Christian, And the reason that I can be friends with them is because they are so Christ-like. They follow the teachings of Christ. They love everybody. They help their neighbor. And I don't have a problem with people like that, but I think Candi said it, that the people that are these people that are Christian nationalists, they're the absolute opposite of Christ. And it's so infuriating to me because I cannot stand how illogical it is. And I just want things to be logical. So that's, I think, why I'm so passionate.
Well, like, the beauty of it comes across, and it's like I said, everything, my meeting place on Sunday morning. But when you look at the damage that's been done, I just want to share a quick story with my mother, who was this wonderful, amazing, progressive force of the world, and just turned me on to so many good bands when I was younger. And she was raised in a Church of God household, and her mother got her to start doing piano lessons. And my mother was getting really good at it. And she came in one day and she said, "You're getting really good. You'll make a good preacher's wife one day." And my mother slammed the thing down, and she said, "I'll never play again." And she didn't. And the world was robbed because she had such a negative thing. And about 6 months later, she told her parents, she was a straight A student. She was running their business. She said, "I'm leaving church. I'm not going to go anymore." And they said, "Why?" And she said, "Because I would rather be in hell if I'm going to go where these people are going, these judgmental, hateful, terrible people." So she tried to raise me. I was not allowed to go to church with one side of my family. And when her informing me of that, and now seeing where it's gotten into the world now, seeing where it's literally taking over our laws and taking over our society, it's terrifying. So thanks for humoring me on that. Just wanted to get Betty Ray in there for a second. But let's move.
Your mom's name is Betty?
Yes.
That's my mom.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask Gwen and Candi a few questions. Basically, when do you both remember getting into either the Go-Go's or Jane's amazing solo stuff that I was listening to today? When do you guys remember? Do you have a specific memory of that?
I think I grew up listening to the Go-Go's because my dad especially had 70s rock, and I know it was a little later too. You've done decades of music, but I remember like dancing around in the kitchen to the Go-Go's, and I watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame every year. So when I saw Drew Barrymore inducted y'all into, yeah, I remember seeing that, and it's just so wild to be here with you right now because you've definitely you've touched my life and influenced me so much. I mean, how cool is it to be an all-female band? I mean, you're rare. So thank you for inspiring me and so many other women to get music.
Of course. So I always like to ask, did you feel, seeing that it was all women, did you find that empowering towards you? Did it make you feel like you could do something?
Oh, absolutely. Especially to see, women on all instruments, because, like I said, it's rare. You don't see women bass players, women drummers, the rhythm section specifically. And then also, obviously, lead guitar. I mean, come on, that's awesome. So, yeah, definitely influenced by the fact that you all were all female, because it just shows that you can do anything. You can do anything as a woman.
And that was kind of the whole thing for me, was the letting women and girls know that, we didn't have to be shut out of that club, that boys club, that we could get in.
And when did you form the band, Jane? Because that was, I mean, trying to get into music as a woman was probably even harder than obviously it is now.
Yeah, of course. It was really hard. I mean, we were the first one that got successful, and instruments, and wrote our own songs. So it's a very specific kind of success, but yeah. Kim, what about you?
So my first experience with you was actually with the Hex Girls.
Oh.
I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music, really, like rock and roll, especially growing up. It was all Southern gospel cassette tapes with my parents. So my education and the music that I love now came a little bit later after I moved out of the house, but I somehow got away with watching Scooby-Doo at my friend's house. And I saw this really cool. I mean, honestly, like probably half of the reason why I dress the way that I do is because of the Hex Girls. And I get compared, like when I'm playing with my band is very often all female, other than myself. I'm non-binary, but I get Hex Girls comparisons constantly. I don't know if you've seen that in my comments, but like people are always saying that, and it's because you made a big impact on me. So yeah, and then of course, like discovering you, discovering the Go-Go's, and the fact that you could form an all girl band. Like I didn't know that. Kind of growing up in Nashville, all of the musicians I knew were dudes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very thankful to you for also being not just a musical inspiration for me, but also a style icon.
Thank you. So I'm just going to go back to Candi mentioning the Hex Girls, which we've been, it's not a real band, obviously. It's cartoon.
Don't tell me that. No, it's very real to me.
Well, I'm the drummer in the Hex Girls, and that's not real. I cannot. But it's in the Scooby-Doo animated movies, which come out, every few years. Every few years they bring us back in and they make us part of the story. And the Hex Girls are a 3-piece goth eco band, right?
Yeah, it's so
They're
cool.
all about saving the planet while being goth. So that's the Hex Girls, and it cracks me up that you cannot hide music from kids permanently. They're going to find it somehow, and I love that Candi found it through Scooby-Doo. That's
yes,
so good.
And now I'm a gothic activist.
Yes.
Thank you.
I was talking to somebody today, a friend of ours, Kate, and she said her daughter Amelia got into music through the Hex Girls. So, I mean, how often do you get that a lot?
No,
the pipeline.
Okay, lately I've been noticing I get people writing and they're talking about the Hex Girls, and I'm like, this is weird. This guy's like this 40-year-old dude. But I don't know. I didn't realize that it resonated with people at all. But look, there you have it.
Well, one of the reasons I've got a question for everybody here. One of the many reasons I got in touch with Jane is they're playing at the Cruel World Festival. The Go-Go's are this year, and super excited for that. What does everybody remember about their first playing a festival experience, no matter how big or small? What memories stand out for you all?
Gwen, why don't you start again?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would love to play more festivals. I haven't toured yet or done any of that yet. I would love to. But I think playing Franklin Pride Festival was the first time I played Pride, as in, I came out as bisexual last year. I think it was last year. I came out later in life. And it was just just such a great camaraderie, even with, all the protesters that were outside. And it was raining that day, but you wouldn't know because everyone's disposition and the energy was just so sunny and happy. So that really was, I mean, really recently. So just grateful to have played that. And they were going to maybe cancel it this year, and I'm very grateful they're not. So we need Pride now more than ever.
Absolutely.
Wow, yeah.
Me too. Well, for me, I guess I would say porta potties. I'm autistic, and I'm very sensitive to smell and sensory input in general. And it's like when I try to think of playing a festival, I try to think of how exciting it is to connect with the audience, because that's so incredible, and the camaraderie, and just how lucky I am to perform. But all I can think of is honestly how it smells in a porta potty. That is all I'm getting right now. Sorry to say. Yeah.
It's very visceral.
It is.
I went to Peru one year to climb Machu Picchu, and we went to they had this big it's not a festival, it's like a show basically, but it's in a big stadium, and they do like old Inca dances and costumes, and it was really cool, but it was all porta potties, and all the porta potties were overflowing.
Oh,
And it was, I'm so with you. I have nightmares about porta potties since then.
yeah.
I can't go within 20 feet of one. It makes me, I freak the fuck out. Yeah, so I'm with you on that.
I haven't yet worn a diaper to a festival, but I'll tell you what, I'm not beyond it or above it. And I would consider it.
I love that.
I would consider it if I needed to. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, I derailed
Yeah,
it. I warned you I would.
I love it. I love how we're just bonding on so much stuff.
Yeah.
The important thing.
I'll take over the questions for a little because I want to get more into their music, both of them. So first, I have the question, Gwen. What does your band name, The Breakdown, mean to you?
So the Breakdown, I formed it in 2018, and originally it was based off, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, The Breakdown. I was like, man, it would be so awesome. And I know I'm not the only one who's thought this, but female Tom Petty-esque, storyteller, speaking out. And also When the Levee Breaks, because my last name is Levey. So that was all.
Oh, that's actually really clever.
Yeah, so that's how the Breakdown came about. And then as I've had, since it's been 2018, I've had quite a few band members, and I feel like the Breakdown has gone through breakdowns. But through a breakdown, you have breakthroughs, right? So finally, yeah, and we've all been there, right, with band members. But yeah, so that's where that came from, and I just feel like I've had so many breakthroughs just with the band, and I'm grateful that no matter what, it's my band, and I feel like whoever's in it is an extension of me, no matter.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's empowering to me to have a band.
I actually have in my notes your song Next Lifetime reminded me so much of Tom Petty in the best possible way.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
I literally was like, when we wrote it, I just like, I want this to have a Tom Petty feeling. So I'm so glad that you feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, because I haven't read anything about you, so I didn't pick that up from anyone else. I did it all on my own.
Good.
Now, I would say you live in Nashville, and I feel like there's a lot of crossover between country and Americana, but I feel like you're so bold because so much of you is outside the norm. I mean, first of all, your hit Barefoot and Pregnant, it's so outrageous, it's so funny and poignant and like on topic. I just think you're so brave for even having done it, and what an amazing song it is. We're definitely going to put that song in the show today. But it's not just that. Your husband is Black, right?
Yeah, my partner's Black.
Or your partner?
Yeah.
Right. So, and you're a big, beautiful woman, and like all this stuff, and yet here you are becoming this star against so many odds. It kind of reminds me of the Go-Go's trying to be an all-female band in the 70s. I mean, it was just like, no way, you can't do it, and here you are doing it. So it makes me really, really proud of you.
Thank you. Jane, I really appreciate that, because it gets hard. I've had as many doors as have opened having Barefoot and Pregnant. There's been a lot that have been closed on me. So especially in the country music world. And that's why I say Americana too, because I'm tired of having to define myself to the country genre, because sadly, especially as a woman, I'll say it's very hard to speak out and be different. Even though you're supposed, like, compared to men who can be copy paste in country music, you have to be so unique as a woman in country music to stand out. But when you say something they don't like, then they totally disregard you. So thank you. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's the Dixie Chicks treatment.
Yep. And they 100%, probably my first mainstream country music influence were the Chicks, for sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Also quite the trailblazers.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Okay, so Candi, I read that you were on a major label in 2016. How old were you?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm currently 6,665 years old.
Okay.
Yep, I'm an immortal vampire extraterrestrial. And yeah, I've seen the rise and fall of many civilizations. So it gets a little lonely. In 2016, I signed with Sony for a country record deal, and just as something different, just to break up the monotony of immortality, basically,
Mhm.
And that's my little answer to not really a reveal that I'm um, probably further on in years than some folks might assume.
Oh, well,
Very old soul.
listen, listen, I'm 66, so we don't have to talk about the whole age thing. I'm sure your age is fine. But it was funny digging deeper into your catalog, just how many kinds of music you've done. So, can you kind of take us a little bit through your evolution? Because I feel like where you are now is where you are meant to be, but I'm sure you will keep evolving. But and I'm all about the brutal honesty. That's my favorite thing about your music. I mean, plus it's just really great music.
Oh,
But
thank you. Oh
I
my
know you
gosh.
studied country, and then you had, what was that? Oh, Church of Roswell. Oh my God! First of all, best band name ever.
Thank you.
But not, kind of more singer songwriter. It was a duo, right?
Yes.
And then, I mean, I'm just interested in how kind of like I said, the evolution of Candi Carpenter.
Wow, thank you. That's such a great question. Yeah, I started in gospel music with my family band, and I was actually a champion yodeler when I was a kid.
Wow.
So I'm sure you can imagine I was very popular in middle school. Being a yodeler in Lansing, Michigan, that was the cool thing to do. And it's funny to me that it took so long for me to get my autism diagnosis that came later in life when, like, growing up in the capital city, like, no one else was yodeling. Like, how did that become my special interest? That's pretty autism coded, honestly. Um, but yeah, I started coming down to Nashville when I was a really little kid. And like, if we were here on vacation, I would get a telephone book and start calling record labels and asking them if I could come sing for them. It was really driven. I knew I wanted to do this, and for different reasons than I want to do it now. Back then, I would get the type of validation that I didn't get at any other point in my life, being an undiagnosed neurodivergent kid. I'd get on stage and people would think that was cool, at least by comparison. And so I wanted to keep doing it. And I signed with my first producer in Nashville when I was 11, and recorded a country EP. As a teenager, I toured with the Grand Ole Opry package shows that went on the road. I was working with the first CMA male vocalist of the year. His name was Jack Green, and they called me his duet partner. I was a teenager, and really, I was just there to help sell CDs because I was a kid yodeler. But I, wow, it's such a long story, and I don't want to dominate the entire conversation here, so I'll keep it short. But I ended up going into pop briefly, then back into country when Doug Morris from Sony in New York heard a song I'd written for Tanya Tucker and asked me to come in for a showcase. So I ended up with this country record deal, having done pop, and they kind of fast tracked the single, and I charted on Billboard, and it was so fast. But then as soon as I ended up on the Nashville side of the label, they had no idea who I was. They'd never met me before. And you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I felt like quitting. It was like I just recorded this Americana EP with Brandy Carlisle. She produced it. And I'd just done Dolly Parton's Grand Ole Opry NBC special.
Wow.
And things were looking really great. And then COVID happened to all of us. And had a moment to ask myself if I was happy. And the answer was, that I really had no idea who I was, that I'd always been a version of myself that someone else decided for me. And I was still a Christian. I still didn't know I was non-binary. I wasn't even out as pansexual. I really didn't know me. And I decided I'd either quit music or write an album that would help me discover who that person was. And I chose to do that, and then wrote Demonology. And now I'm a blasphemous heretic and queer as they come. So
wow, that is quite the journey. That is an amazing story.
Oh, thank you.
You got to write a book someday. I also want to ask you about the song Suffragettes. How did that thing happen?
Well, I was invited to perform on Song Suffragettes when Burn the Bed came out on Sony, and made a lot of great friends there. And it was really, I think, important for my musical development to have a place to play every week. And it kind of forced me to become a better guitar player, because you had to accompany yourself. So I'm really glad that I can just go out and tour as an acoustic artist on my own. I'm thankful for that time.
Yeah. And for people that don't know Song Suffragettes, I don't know the history, but the song or in the video that I saw and heard was called Time's Up, and it was from 2018. And it was it like 10 young women that took part-ish, 10-ish?
I think there were 50 of us, actually.
50?
I think so. I think that's right.
But it's this crazy song where every line a different woman sings a line, and it's about time's up. So which was very topical in 2018, and with the Me Too movement, and really, really interesting to see that many young women banded together like that. That was actually very cool.
You have done your homework on us. This is amazing. I can't believe you were researching us. This is wild. This is so cool.
I gotta say that I've done thousands of interviews, and what I hate is when people are just completely unprepared. It makes it so boring for me, and I didn't want to bore you guys. So yeah, and plus, like I keep saying, I'm a huge fan. I want.
Can't get over that.
I can't either.
Quote a couple lyrics from both you wonderful people, because I don't, in case people haven't heard you yet, but I'm sure they will after this. On the Demonology EP from 2023, you have a song called Exorcist, and it's so brutal, but it's funny too, in the same way that Gwen is. The guys are just so on point and brave about what you talk about, and this part really killed me. It was the first time anyone touched me. They didn't ask me first. Now I need more than a therapist. I think I need an exorcist. Oh my God. That is freaking brilliant. Really
Thank you. And I inspired by my parents taking me to see a self-proclaimed exorcist preach a sermon at a church in rural Ohio.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Damn, people believe such weird shit. And another thing that I wanted to bring up, that you have a song called Nervous System, and you talk about trepanation, which is so random. I'm obsessed with trepanation, which is something, actually they still do this, but it was from a long time ago, where they thought that if they drilled a hole in your skull, that they could, at first it was they could release like the evil vapors or whatever, and then it was like, oh, it can cure diseases, but literally taking a drill and drilling a hole in your head. And I have had moments where I felt like, God, I feel like I need to do that. Like my head's going to explode if I don't let the pressure out. But I just love that you knew about that, and then you wrote about it. And then another line that was killing me, that you call yourself a dehydrated house plant.
Yeah, that's such a good line, Candi. I love that line.
Unbelievable. Anyways, So I'm going
Oh,
to go back to you, Johnny, for a minute because I'm freaking out.
Oh man, this is just amazing to watch you all discuss this. This is everything I wanted this to be and more. You know.
I'm so rarely speechless, but I can't stop grinning.
Same.
Well, let's ask. Let's go back to Gwen for a minute. What are your plans for the rest of 2025 and beyond?
So I have new music coming. So we finally, working on the record, the album. I don't see that's the thing. We're doing it in 6 song increments. I have lots of music written, but as we know, it takes a minute. And I've had people comment and on social media and just be like, okay, like like people. It's very rare. Like people love hearing Barefoot and Pregnant, but they're like, okay, now it's time to release new music, and I'm just have to remind them, hey, it takes some time. If you
Yeah.
want be quality, but as we know, people aren't very patient, and I'm impatient myself, so I'm trying to be better at that. But yeah, so releasing new music, which is really exciting. And you know,
Do you have your own label or what's your label situation?
I'm completely independent.
Good for
And
you.
well, thank you. Yeah, so I've actually found that friends of mine who are on labels right now, the benefit obviously is that they front the money for you. They get your record made. But a lot of people are talking about how labels aren't really promoting, not really
Mhm.
putting budget into people, to artists. And
Yeah.
for me, the main reason I would want a label or some sort of distribution deal is for obviously to have little bit of money, but I guess it's like a loan, right? So you have to pay it back in some way.
Yes.
Um, and then, just to have the connections, because that's really where, I mean, social media, as we talked about, there's so many downsides to it, but there's also a lot of wonderful things because it brought all of us together.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that? I think
Oh,
that's
I
the only
think
thing. The label having the connections is one thing I don't have. So I'm just like, you know, slowly but surely, meeting people and, trying to get my name out that way. So thank you for having me on for
well,
sure.
of course, I want to promote you guys. I will say my opinion about major labels is they can all suck a bag of dicks because they yeah, maybe they'll spend a little money on you, but like you said, it's your money they're spending. You got to pay them back. And they don't promote anymore. They don't do anything. They expect you to do everything. And they just throw all their artists at a wall to see what sticks. And it's such BS. And then you have the small labels, and they don't have any money for you. You have to pay for everything. And at that point, you're kind of like, oh, what's the point? And then you think, oh, they're going to distribute me. But we all know that we can distribute ourselves now because of the internet, which is both the worst thing in the world and the best thing in the world. So, yeah, I mean, I feel in a way like the very nature of the music business is to squeeze the lifeblood out of artists. Like, I have a very bad opinion about the music business, but I've been through a lot, like I had a record deal in, I was in my 30s with Geffen Records, and they thought I was too old and they refused to promote my record.
Mm,
So, like,
that's like David Geffen.
that is some bullshit, right? And
Yeah,
I mean, I was so devastated by that, devastated.
I'm sure.
And so I'm going to let Johnny go back to asking
Well, one thing
questions.
before we get to Candy, you go back to when I remember when the Go-Go's came up, how much money they were making on you guys back then is just criminal, and it's disgraceful that you're not given this kind of lifetime pass of like, hey, we did our shit, now you take care of us, because it's disgraceful how
Yes.
much money they were making off you guys back then.
Yeah, it is interesting once you're, past your prime, nobody wants to pay you for anything. I mean, nobody wants to pay you for anything. There's like, oh, why don't you come on the show and talk about this and that? And I'm like, oh, sure. How much does it pay? Nothing. And I'm like, really? Does the director get paid? Does the cameraman get paid? Does the lighting guy, it's like, it's really hard to get paid in this business. And I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it. I don't care if I ever do another thing. I feel like I should get paid. And sometimes I break my own law, like when I play live or whatever, and I do clubs and stuff. And there just really is no money. So you just kind of do it because you want to play live. But as far as like being used because you supposedly have a name, like those days are over for me.
Good. No, I know. I'm about to be 30, and I don't even care about age anymore. You hear about people having success older and older. Like Brandi Carlile, I don't even think she was nominated for a Grammy until she was 40, maybe 45, something like that. So anyway, yeah, age is but a number, but they do factor that in somehow, the major labels. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm in my 30s, which is why I joke about being so ancient, because I'm like, if they're going to judge me for just, falling victim to the simple passage of time, like we all do, then I'm going to just make it even more extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, and as female or non-binary, in your case, it's way worse. I mean, men are allowed to get older. They're just allowed, and we are not. It's gross. I'm just gonna bitch.
I have been feeling a certain way about Nashville, y'all.
Just start telling everyone you're thousands of years old. They don't know what to do.
I'm taking your lead, and I'm also stealing the alien thing too.
You see my extraterrestrial mannequin behind me? I know we're just voice only, but this is Randy.
Randy.
Nice.
I'll tell you what, if you get an extraterrestrial mannequin for your living room, it's the best security system you'll ever invest in, because if people come into my house, they go, oh, this person's crazy. I'm getting out of here right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Little trick.
Is Randy protecting those guitars behind you?
Randy really doesn't do much. Yeah, Randy's kind of a lazy roommate, to be honest.
Well, Candi, what's your plans for the rest of 2025 and beyond?
Wow. Well, I actually just got home from tour. We just did a 2-week run of the East Coast, and so my brain feels like soup. We're living in a van. We were living in a van with the band, and just kind of
great food.
One show to the next. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I ate really well. Nothing deep fried. Only healthy. And yeah, I'm tired. I'm still not really fully recovered. We didn't really have days off, except for when our van got stuck in the snow in Montreal and we had to cancel the show because we drove in during a record-setting blizzard. So yeah, that was incredible though, to get out there and meet more fans and get to, like, my favorite part of the show is sitting on the floor and singing Everybody Goes to Hell, and hopefully bringing some healing to some folks out there who need it right now. It feels even more special to bring this evangelical music out into the rest of the country, everything that's going on. But I'm just planning to do more of that. My partner and I are starting a company, trying to decide exactly what it's going to be, but kind of a label services thing for my next record, and just trying to stay as independent as possible for all the reasons we just talked about. Yeah.
Well, Jane, if have you got anything else for Gwen or Candi?
I talked a little about Candi's lyrics, but I do want to bring up Gwen's incredible hit that's going to be for decades. This song is never going away. And whoever tells you, oh, just move on, you just keep pushing this, because it's so important what she's saying in the song Barefoot and Pregnant. It's so smart and so funny. And it's just, I am so blown away by it. I don't know if you did it on purpose or it's just your nature to be funny and deep at the same time, but it really scratches my itch. one of the things, so basically, as you can imagine, it's making fun of the whole keeping women down. And it starts, what do we do with the girl next door? What do we do with Miss American Pie? And then my favorite line of all, of course, is popping out babies like a Pez dispenser. Which, oh my God, that is never going to leave my brain. It's so good. But yeah, I think that you have touched a lot of people. I think you'll continue to do so. I think that song has a crazy long life for it. And I'm glad that you're writing new material because that's going to be good for you. But just having that as a foundation is pretty fabulous to have that great of a song as your start.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I want, so much just to, I obviously we all want to be successful, but I want that song to help people. And that would be like, and the fact it is helping people, that's success to me. So yeah, even though it's not on the Billboard yet or what, charts or whatever, but yeah, I'm proud to be behind it. And I don't feel as alone as I used to in Nashville, knowing there's Candi. And there's some other artists too that are trying to speak out as well.
Good. I love it.
Yep. I wish there were more, but we'll take what we can get, I guess.
Form a community and it will grow.
Well, we'd love to have you down here at Athens to play. So absolutely. After we get done with this, let's all trade info and but I wanted to jump right back quick with Jane, the first all girl band, the first #1 record, so many firsts for you. But when I go back and I think about that early punk scene that you came out, I'm talking about the Mask, the Starwood, and I think of some of the let's just say, wolves that were wandering around at that time, Eddie Nash's and people like that. How, I don't want to focus on the negative, but I know that was so there, but what are some of your most vibrant memories coming up, starting in that scene?
Well, I was on a lot of drugs and alcohol at the time. Vibrant memories. Wow. I mean, there's weird memories. There's the Night Stalker, who was a serial killer. His hunting ground, one of his hunting grounds was the Mask, which is the ground zero of the Hollywood punk scene. It was this literally underground club. It was in a basement below a porno theater, and it was the only place that punk bands could play at the time. And that was in 76. So yeah, it was kind of scary and weird. It was kind of dangerous to be a punk. People really would hate on you and stuff. But to me, it was the first place I really felt like I was at home, because it was all a bunch of weirdos and queerdos. And I was like, yeah, this is for me. And the fact that I was able to start a band not knowing anything about music or writing or anything just goes to show just how supportive and nurturing the punk scene was then. And a lot of people now that weren't there, they think of all those kind of hardcore all guy bands that was all about like getting in fights and stuff like that. But it didn't start that way. It started with a bunch of art students and women and people of color and gays and, like all the people that were on the outside of society forming together to make this sort of family. And that's it's sort of my happiest memories of my career, actually. I mean, getting famous, it's grueling. It's hard. And you get worked to death, and you start getting misunderstood and stuff. So the beginning of the Go-Go's, the first few years are the ones that I really remember the most fondly.
Well, what do you have planned for Cruel World this year?
Oh, same old. Just, play our songs and hope people like us. I mean, I don't actually go to festivals because I can't be like around that many people all squished together. Because I'm short, I always end up in someone's armpits. But so I haven't been to Coachella or Cruel World before, but I've been told that Cruel World started out as a kind of a goth fest, and then it morphed into sort of 80s music in general. And so that audience is really going to be our audience of, people from back in the day or whatever. Whereas Coachella, I think, is more like a lot of 20-year-olds and stuff. So I have both a little bit of fear, but a little bit of excitement to play Coachella because we really want to win those people over. And I'm just going to assume most of them are not going to be familiar with our music. So it's going to be weird, but maybe great. I think it'll be great. My thing is, as long as I have fun, usually the audience has fun. And even if they don't, as long as I have fun, selfishly, that is what I care about.
Well, let's all, this is like the most amazing time. I feel like I could hang with y'all all evening, and I want to thank you all so much for coming on. If you would, we're going to put some songs at the end of this episode so everybody can hear what's going on. If I could get you both to like introduce what we're going to include at the end, and I'd start with maybe Candi.
Oh my gosh. Well, Jane, do you have a song you'd like to play? I have a thought.
Well, what is your thought?
Well, I will never forget the way that we met because I screamed and startled my husband. It was on Christian Nightmares shared my song Cult. And I had been a follower of the Christian Nightmares account for so long. Like, I'm a big fan of a lot of these meme pages, and that's one of my top 5 favorites. So they were kind enough to share Cult, and then you commented on it, and that's when I screamed and scared Alden. So it was a very exciting day for me. You don't forget Jane Wiedlin commenting on your video, for the first time.
And I've got a Christian Nightmares shirt, so I'm right with there with it.
Oh, yeah, let's play Cult. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely, let's do that. And then, of course, Gwen, we got to play Barefoot and Pregnant.
But of course,
I know you both have so many other great songs, but these songs are iconic. So maybe you guys want to do a little lead in to each song. So when Johnny plays it, people will have an idea of what to look for in it.
Cool. Do you want to go first, Gwen?
Oh, sure. Hey, I'm Gwen, and this is my song Barefoot and Pregnant. I wrote this song when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and just fighting back against the patriarchy.
Yes.
The court took away what
Well, Cult is a song that I really hope my parents haven't listened to, but I fear they have. It's it's a song about growing up as the child of a Christian Missionary Alliance pastor and spending the rest of my life unpacking and unlearning what was ingrained into me from birth. Really about discovering who I actually am. And it is the song that introduced me personally to Jane. So it has a special place in my heart for sure.
Right on.
Fantastic.
I sat in church while my father preached about sexual sin and pornography, learning that I was inherently bad, that God was my lover, my brother, my dad, and that made me feel kind of dirty inside. I was afraid I was the Antichrist because I felt nothing whenever I prayed. I said I was a Republican in the second grade. So who's that in the corner listening to REM? It's me, losing my religion again. I didn't ask to join, it wasn't my fault. Growing up is like leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult. I sat in science class and I fantasized about getting killed because I stood up for Christ. I'd get a new body, a crown and a mansion. I'd be the most popular angel in heaven. These are the end times, that's what my dad said. Don't take the mark of the beast on your forehead. There are satanic themes in Dragon Ball Z and secular music on MTV. So who's that in the corner listening to REM? It's me, losing my religion again. I didn't ask to join, it wasn't my fault. Growing up is like leaving a cult. Who's that in the corner listening to REM? It's me, losing my religion again. I'm a little kid riding inside a mechanical adult. Growing up is like leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult. I'm leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult, leaving a cult.
Okay,
Love
great intro, Candi.
Well, oh, you know what though? I do know that my mom and dad have heard the record because I was in the car with my mom a few months ago and Strawberry Starburst came on CarPlay. And that is the gayest song on my album. And I'm like, really? That's interesting, Mom, that of all the songs that you drive around and you listen to, oh, it's my love song to the Pink Power Ranger. Okay.
Wow.
See you, Mom.
Well, you know what? So, I mean, that's good that they have, I mean, they haven't disowned you or anything, right? I
Not
mean,
yet.
That's
Not
pretty
yet.
surprising. I'm pretty surprised by that, but it's good.
I
There's
can
hope
make
for them.
there's hope. I can make no sense of anything from my childhood at all. So,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, she turned it off and we never talked about it.
Wow. There you go. Well, this has been super great. Thank you both for coming on. And Johnny, it was great to meet
It's so
you.
great to meet all of y'all. And I'm thank you for trusting me and coming on this. I consider you friends of the podcast now. Everybody, let's wrap it up by trying to let's get everybody a chance to say any plugs they want to get out. Where's the best place we can get in touch with you or your music?
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. And Gwen, we definitely should like just hang out this week or something.
I was gonna
Since
text you after this. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
like,
perfect.
hang out. Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Just
And
to meet
Jane,
you.
this has just made my year. Thank you so much. You can find me on candicarpenter.com. It's Candy with an I. And the way that you remember that is it's like somebody who builds gingerbread houses. It's a Candi Carpenter. But all my things are on there, my Patreon and my Discord and socials and music and stuff. That's the place to go.
Okay.
Right on.
Yes, thank you. I second Candy's sentiments about everybody here. Thank you, Johnny, for having me on. Thank you, Jane. Love you so much. And yeah, you can find me at Gwen Levey Music on all the socials and Gwen Levey and the breakdown.com. That's with 2 E's. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And Jane?
Well, I mean, obviously it's easy to find the Go-Go's. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Just my name, Jane Wiedlin, which is I before E, W-I-E. And then if you look for my music in all the usual places online, I have a lot of solo albums that had a couple bands. One band is called Frosted, and the other band is called Elettrodomestico, which means the appliances in Italian. And that's actually a duo with one of my besties, Pietro Straccia, who's an Italian dude. Yeah, so Elettrodomestico, we just put out a new EP. We just sort of threw it out into the world, into a black hole. But you might want to check that out. Oh, and Johnny, if you want to play a song off that new EP.
Absolutely.
This is the least commercial one, but I'm going to suggest it anyways because it's kind of the most interesting. I wrote a song about Alzheimer's, and it's called "The Town of Maybe Never," because both my parents passed from Alzheimer's related stuff, and it's kind of a neat song, and it's not along the lines of my interest in mental wellness. So
Right on. Right on.
Put her on the clean machine. Wash her blood once or twice. Wash her blood maybe thrice. It's a temporary treatment, but they say it's nice. Looking through old videographs, staring at a tiny screen, wonders what did it even mean. She has forgotten almost everything she has ever seen. Becoming takes forever. Forever is nothing in the town of maybe never. She's She's a sparrow without wings. She's a sparrow without wings. She's a sparrow without wings.
Good.
Can I grab a screenshot? Can I grab a
Absolutely.
screenshot of all of us?
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Beautiful day.
You too. Bye.
Goodbye.
All right. I want to thank Jane, Gwen, and Candi for coming on the podcast tonight. I can't say enough good things about all three of these artists. So amazing. Make sure you support their music and check them out and buy the vinyls, buy the MP3, just buy it all. And that's about our show for tonight. Just want to tell everybody, if you're a new listener, we're a podcast recorded out of Athens, Georgia, and we truly believe that art saves lives. So follow us on all those socials, stay switched on, and we'll talk to you soon.